Alcohol has woven itself into the fabric of human civilization, a substance as old as fermentation itself, celebrated in rituals and condemned in scriptures. Its Arabic-derived name, Al-Kuhul, hints at a deeper essence, a spirit that promises liberation but often delivers bondage. Beyond its physical effects, alcohol carries profound spiritual consequences, influencing the soul's clarity, connection to the divine, and capacity for transcendence. To ask who is Al-Kuhul is to step into a linguistic and historical puzzle. Al-Kuhul is not a deity, a demon, or a historical figure, but an Arabic term from which alcohol is derived. By the 16th century, European alchemists borrowed the term to describe distilled spirits they created, liquids like ethanol that seem to capture the essence of fermented matter. But alcohol is more than a technical label. It carries a poetic weight. In Arabic, it invokes the idea of something ethereal, almost ghostly, a vapor rising from the mundane to touch the sublime. This duality mirrors alcohol's nature, a substance that could elevate the mind or drag it into shadow. Though not a who in the literal sense, Al-Kuhul becomes a metaphorical entity, a spirit of transformation, a trickster that reveals as much as it conceals. Understanding this origin sets the stage for exploring how alcohol interacts with the human soul. In Christianity, wine is both sacred and cautionary. It flows as the blood of Christ in the Eucharist, a symbol of divine grace and unity, yet the Bible warns against its misuse. Wine is a mocker, strong drink a brawler, and whoever is led astray by it is not wise. Excess drinking is depicted as a thief of virtue, clouding the spirit's ability to reflect God's light. Islam offers no such ambiguity. The Quran labels intoxicants as an abomination of Satan's handiwork, a tool that diverts believers from prayer and remembrance of Allah. Here, Al-Kuhul, once a neutral alchemical term, takes on a darker hue, a substance that veils the soul from its creator. The clarity of mind is essential for spiritual purity. Elsewhere, alcohol finds a more ambiguous role. In ancient Greek mythology, Dionysus, the god of wine, embodies both ecstasy and chaos. His followers revel in divine madness, but their excess often leads to destruction, a reminder that alcohol's spiritual gifts come with a price. Similarly, some indigenous traditions use fermented brews in shamanic rites, viewing them as portals to the spirit world. For the Huichol people of Mexico, peyote and alcohol-rich tesquino are sacred when used with reverence, yet profane when abused. Alcohol could have several negative effects on the pineal gland, often referred to as the third eye in spiritual contexts due to its role in regulating sleep and producing melatonin. Excessive alcohol consumption can disrupt the gland's function by altering melatonin production, leading to sleep disturbances and circadian rhythm imbalances. It may also contribute to calcification of the pineal gland over time, a process linked to aging and exposure of toxins, which can impair its ability to regulate hormones effectively. Additionally, alcohol's neurotoxic effects might interfere with the gland's hypothesized role in mood and perception, though scientific evidence on this is limited. Moderation is key, as chronic use amplifies these risks. The good news is that the pineal gland is resilient. Reducing or eliminating alcohol allows melatonin production to stabilize, oxidative damage to lessen, and sleep cycles to normalize. Practices like sunlight exposure, a clean diet, and meditation may further support its recovery, aligning with both scientific and spiritual approaches to decalcifying or revitalizing the gland. For those on a spiritual path, this restoration could feel like reawakening the third eye, a return to clarity and connection. Excessive alcohol doesn't just tax the liver or cloud the mind, it subtly undermines the pineal gland, a linchpin of physical and spiritual harmony, by disturbing melatonin, fostering calcification and developing serotonin. It dims this tiny organ's light with ripple effects on sleep, awareness, and perhaps the soul's higher faculties. Whether you see it as a biological cog or a mystical portal, the pineal gland thrives on balance. Too much alcohol tips that scale, leaving both the body and spirit to pay the price. At its core, alcohol alters consciousness, a trait that makes it both alluring and perilous to the spirit. Many spiritual traditions describe the soul as a luminous bridge between the material and the divine, a faculty of awareness, will, and connection. Alcohol, by numbing the mind and loosening inhibitions, can fray this bridge. It amplifies the ego's shadows, anger, lust, despair, while dimming the higher faculties of discernment and compassion. The Sufi mystic Rumi captures this tension in his poetry, using drunkenness as a metaphor for divine intoxication. I am drunk with love for you, not with wine. For Rumi, earthly alcohol is a pale imitation of the soul's true longing, a distraction from the ecstasy of union with the beloved. Yet, habitual drinking, he suggests, chains the spirit to illusion, rather than freeing it from truth. Science studies show that alcohol depresses the central nervous system, impairing the prefrontal cortex, the brain's hub of self-control and reflection. Spiritually, this can be seen as a temporary eclipse of the inner light, the part of us that seeks meaning beyond the material. Over time, chronic use may erode the soul's resilience, leaving it vulnerable to apathy or despair. In esoteric traditions, alcohol's impact extends beyond the physical to the subtle body, the energetic field said to surround and sustain us. Practitioners of yoga and Taoism warn that excessive drinking scatters prana or ki, life force, disrupting the chakras or meridians that channel spiritual energy. The result is a weakened aura prone to leaks where negative influences, whether emotional or metaphorical, can take hold. Some occult teachings go even further, suggesting that intoxication opens the psyche to lower entities or thought forms. Folklore abounds with tales of drunken spirits, not just the liquor, but the unseen forces that prey on an unguarded mind. Whether literal or symbolic, these stories underscore a shared intuition. Alcohol, in excess, compromises the soul's sovereignty. Buddhism reinforces this with its emphasis on sobriety. The fifth precept, I undertake to refrain from intoxicating drinks and drugs, which leads to carelessness, is a safeguard for mindfulness, the cornerstone of enlightenment. Alcohol clouds the meditative mind, pulling the individual from the present moment into a haze of craving or regret. Not every spiritual view demonizes alcohol. In moderation, it could be a balm for the soul, a source of joy, camaraderie, and ritual. A shared drink at a wedding, a sip of a ceremonial mead, or a toast to the departed can align with the sacred. The Jewish tradition of Kiddush sanctifies wine as a blessing over the Sabbath, while the Tao Te Ching hints at balance rather than abstinence. The sage avoids excess, avoids extravagance, avoids arrogance. When alcohol serves connection or celebration, it harmonizes with the spirit. When it becomes an escape or a compulsion, it siphons vitality from the soul. The Greeks understood this through Dionysus. His wine could inspire poetry or provoke ruin, depending on the drinker's discipline. For those enslaved by alcohol's grip, the spiritual consequences deepen over time. Habitual excess could hollow out the soul, replacing purpose with numbness. The phrase lost soul gains poignancy here. A being unmoored from its divine compass, adrift in a sea of fleeting heights and lingering lows. Relationships fray, intuition dulls, and the inner voice of conscience grows faint. Yet redemption remains possible. Many who overcome addiction describe it as a spiritual rebirth, a reclaiming of self from alcohol's grasp. So, who is Al-Kuhul? Not a person, but a presence, a distilled essence that has haunted and enchanted humanity for millennia. It is the spirit in the bottle, the whisper of transcendence that could lead to triumph or tragedy. The spiritual consequences depend on the drinker's choices. Does it lift the soul towards light or drag it into shadow? Alcohol, as in Al-Kuhul, is a mirror of our nature, our capacity for joy, our vulnerability to excess, and our eternal quest for meaning. Across traditions, the message resounds: the spirit thrives in clarity, not haze. To drink or abstain is a personal reckoning, but the stakes are eternal. In the end, Al-Kuhul, or alcohol, asks us not what we pour into the glass, but what we pour into our souls.